Why are you still alive? This happened back in high school. It was that fleeting moment of freedom right after final exams. A friend and I were at my place, finally catching up on the gaming we'd missed during the weeks of cramming. Normally, sports and studies ate up my entire life, but during exams, club activities were suspended. It was our ritual to just let loose once the last paper was turned in. But I was running on empty. I'd pulled successive all-nighters, fueled by caffeine and desperation. The desire to play was there, but my eyelids felt like lead. Eventually, I hit my limit. "Sorry, man, I gotta crash for a bit," I mumbled. I dragged my school bag onto the floor to use as a makeshift pillow and drifted off instantly. Then the dream began. When I opened my eyes, I was on a train. The seats were packed, but a heavy, suffocating silence filled the carriage. Every single passenger was slumped forward, staring at the floor. Not a soul looked up. Not a single face was visible. The air felt thick, stagnant, like it had been sitting in a tomb. Strangely, I knew right away, this is a dream. Maybe it was because I'd recently fallen down a rabbit hole of videos about lucid dreaming. I just had this intuitive certainty. A lucid dream, huh? I thought. Might as well enjoy the ride. I sat there, letting the rhythmic swaying of the train wash over me. But then the stillness broke. A passenger at the very front of the car stood up without a word and began walking toward the next carriage. Then the person behind them stood. Then the next. They moved with a chilling mechanical precision, spaced out at perfect intervals. At first, I just watched them with idle curiosity, but as the wave of people standing up got closer and closer to my seat, a cold knot of unease tightened in my chest. Wait, do I have to stand up too? But this was my dream. I knew the rules, or thought I did. There was no reason to obey. So when the person in front of me stood and shuffled away, I stayed put. I tucked my chin and stared at my feet, determined to wait it out. That's when the atmosphere shifted. I felt it, a heavy, suffocating presence. The person sitting right next to me was staring. I could feel their eyes boring into the side of my head. I was too terrified to look up. I waited for the next person in line to just get up and break the cycle, but minutes passed and nobody moved. Unable to bear the tension, I slowly tilted my head up. My breath hitched. The person next to me was glaring at me with a face twisted in suppressed rage, but it was the eyes that froze my blood. They were voids, solid, bottomless black, devoid of light, emotion, or humanity. It felt like my soul was being sucked into a vacuum. Gasping for air, I whipped my head around to look at the rest of the car. Every single passenger was looking at me. The people who had been slumped over just moments ago were now upright, their pitch-black eyes fixed on mine, their faces contorted in that same silent, hateful grimace. It was a look of pure accusation. What is this?" I stammered. Time seemed to warp. The weight of those hundreds of black stares became unbearable. My legs moved on their own. I couldn't take it anymore. The moment I stood up, everyone instantly looked back down at the floor. Trembling, I followed the line toward the exit at the front of the car, just like the others had. But when I reached the door, my heart dropped into my stomach. There was no next carriage. There was only the howling void of the night, the freezing wind whipping past, and the roar of a train screaming at top speed. To go forward meant jumping, and I knew with a terrifying, absolute certainty. If I jump, I die. I froze at the edge, my knees shaking, but I felt that gaze again from behind. I didn't need to turn around to know. They were all watching me, expecting me to jump. "You want me to go out there?" I risked a glance back. Every passenger had stood up and was slowly, silently closing in on me. Even though it was a dream, the primal terror was too real. As they cornered me, a flash of memory hit. The emergency brake. "Stop the train!" I scanned the wall frantically. A red button appeared where there had been nothing but smooth metal seconds ago. I slammed my palm against it. An ear-splitting screech of metal on metal tore through the air. The train bucked and groaned as it fought its own momentum, finally grinding to a halt at a dark, nameless platform. I didn't think, I just leaped out onto the concrete. The train began to pull away almost immediately. As it slid past, I looked back at the windows. Every single passenger was pressed against the glass, glaring at me with those hollow black eyes as they faded into the darkness. "Ah!" I jerked awake with a cry. I was back in my room, drenched in a cold sweat. My heart was hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. Even though I was home, the tremors wouldn't stop. I looked over at my friend. He was sitting there, bathed in the glow of the TV, staring blankly at a game over screen. "Hey, man, you okay?" I croaked, my voice trembling. My friend slowly, agonizingly slowly, turned his head toward me. The air left my lungs. It was the same face, the same twisted, murderous rage, the same bottomless, pitch-black eyes from the train. He spoke in a voice that sounded like grinding stones, low, cold, and hollow. "Why are you still alive?" I screamed and grabbed his shoulders in a blind panic. The next blink, his face was normal again. "Whoa, dude, relax. You having a night terror or something?" He chuckled and went back to the game as if nothing had happened. I sat there in silence, unable to find my voice. Was it really just a dream? I don't think so, because even now, I can still feel those black eyes on me, and I can still hear that voice.